Good, good, good morning. My name is Stephen Twig, and I'm reading from Turning Within, Reclaiming Your Soul from Shadow. Today, we will be reading from chapter 12, Our Identities Are Cornerstones to the System, the bottom of the page 157. We all have multiple identities from which we live out our lives. The more you stand in a particular spot, the more that spot becomes the default by which you make sense of your world. The deeper your cultivation of your identity, the more likely you are to gravitate to the assumptions, perspectives, and insights from that identity. The more meaning you make from that particular place where you choose to stand, the more meaning you will defend, demand, and assume is true. The last thing you want is to make meaning from an identity that doesn't serve your greater good. That meaning becomes your default identity and the one you will defend. Most of the time, we cultivate identities unconsciously. You become the unwilling, unconscious actor in a horror film in which you are the main character. You begin to notice your personal Armageddon moments are based around the same assumptions, limitations, expectations, and lack. The same cycle running over and over and over. The mind craves consistency because it's easier to process. Your identity sits at the core of that consistency. Even if the identity you cultivate consistently sucks, at least the mind can anticipate this suck. Because the mind is hijacked for survival, it can expend entire lifetimes focusing on that. At some point, you'll begin to see that this limitation is a part of your mind playing safe. We find ways to hide, repress, and deny these identities exist, but no amount of sweeping them underneath the carpet will make them disappear. If these identities aren't investigated and integrated into our awareness, they are experienced through shadow. They are unescapably a part of you. It's easy to understand how the pain of identifying with traits like weak, not good enough, worthless, and stupid bring about selective disassociation. When we feel shame, we unconsciously reconstruct our interpretation of events. Questioning our interpretation becomes increasingly difficult when the identity underneath the narrative is rooted in pain. The mind will work tirelessly to keep you from that pain. What are the identities that you find yourself cultivating? Are there positions in your reality, the assumptions, perspectives, or insights that you find yourself carrying over and over? Have you been typecast in your life to play a specific role, thinking all along that your reality, your outside world, is the director and producer of that movie? The truth of the matter is most people cultivate their identities unconsciously. You have people like Ryan Reynolds, who managed his anxiety of interviews by loading up the identity of Deadpool. And now when you see him in an interview or on screen, that anxiety doesn't exist. You see people like Beyoncé, who cultivated an identity she labeled Sasha Fierce to allow her to go on stage as a single performer when she left Destiny's Child so that she could become the star that she is. You see football players, you see actors, you see politicians, you see all kinds of successful people leveraging the power of identity consciously. You create identities. You have more than one identity that exists in you. And those identities are necessary for you to be able to orient your reality. What is the default identity that you find yourself operating out of? What would your life be like if you chose to cultivate an identity that served you and didn't imprison you? Thank you.